doing? Makes me want to be a guitarist. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to IPSA Kind of Magic. The keener-eyed amongst you will notice a usual stalwart, Hamish McLay of Search Convey. Today we are joined by the incandescent Jackie Dyson, Dyson of Yorkshire Search Agency, who's long been a co-conspirator of IPSA and now is a private consultant. We are talking today about a topic which is close to everyone at IPSA's hearts, which is personal searches. And today's topic is personal searches. Are they today's top tip for value? So first of all, as is traditional on this channel, I'm throwing Hamish straight under the bus.
Right, we're back where we ought to be. We're speaking about the value rather than the price, and because really it's value sometimes is immeasurable, because when you actually start putting together what we're able to do professionally, because we're all professionals working through IPSA, what we're able to do professionally is put together a product as alongside a service which is embracing so many different sort of things. Not only do we have something that our clients can put to good use, but we also help our clients by saving them. We save them time twofold. We save the time, and we reinforce this because Jackie has much more knowledge and experience about such things. And this projection is not just one fold or twofold; it's several fold, because everybody who's involved with the process, we are able, because we actually check information. We don't just sort of send it out. Councils just send it out. We are the ones that correct the councils. We are the ones that advise HLMR when they're making mistakes, and they take notice of us. And we're the only people who largely take into consideration the wants and needs of our direct clients, who happen to be the solicitors more often than not, as well as those who happen to be selling the properties. Sorry, I say selling, but it does involve the people who are selling, but particularly the sort of buyers of the property. They want the right information. They don't want information that doesn't apply to their particular property.
Welcome, Jackie, our pet gamekeeper turned poacher. You've obviously seen both sides of this coin. Is it purely that personal searches give you a wider viewpoint, whereas generic searches just looking straight down the barrel of the gun? You see all the bits on the periphery, right?
Yeah, that's correct. A search, when a search is sent to your local authority, they search on the property that is requested. Right. Yes, we search on the property that is requested, but also we look at what could be behind that property, what could be at the side of that property, and what can affect that property. An instance that I've had not so long back in Huddersfield, somebody was buying a property that had a beautiful view out of the back across the hills. And looking at it, I thought, this is strange. So I checked the zoning of that land. It was zoned as housing, and there was an application in for over 500 houses. So the person who was looking to buy at that lovely view was going to lose it. Yes, I know you don't own the view. And you know, if you own the land, yes, fair enough, you own the view, and you can't object to a planning application on your view. But they were quite shocked that this wasn't revealed by the people selling the property. So therefore, a normal search would not have told them that that land to the rear, these wonderful farm fields, as they thought they were zoned for housing, and 500 properties were going to go up, and that their road was going to become busier because, say, 500 properties, you can say on the average 2 cars per property a day. That's an extra 1,000 cars going past the front of their property, as well as a house going up and taking away the view that they were expecting.
So it's this extra information that can really help buying decisions, can it not?
Yes, it can, definitely, because you know, so some people don't bother to look what's going on around a property. They look at the property, oh, that's lovely, etc. But they don't think to go back and research because they possibly don't know how to. But because we look at that and we think, oh, there's something here that we think the buyer should be aware of, we reveal it. A tree preservation order on the house next door, which can overhang yours. If you cut that tree down, you are liable to prosecution, or if you touch that tree. If they're not told that this tree could overhang, then they don't know. They can then plead, say, I just didn't know, but ignorance is no defence, as they say. So as far as I feel, that a personal searcher, if they are doing their job correctly, will give that little bit of extra information that the purchaser does require.
It also could give a bit of leverage, can't it, Hamish? Because I'm minded of a time when we were living in a beautiful leafy road in Richmond, and unbeknown to anyone, Lidl were going to build a place. And when they built it, they didn't mention to anyone they were also going to put half a dozen extractor fans on the outside. So every night it sounded like hovercraft was coming into land. It's like this extra information can help you really make the right choice.
Well, unfortunately, as you've actually shown before, and I think one of the most ludicrous ones we came across was within one of our other podcasts we were doing on the cladding matters one, where we're actually investigating, and we do actually report each week on that on 3 o'clock most Friday afternoons.
Absolutely.
But it's 3 o'clock most Friday afternoons on cladding matters, because carrying out a full search on that particular sort of property did not bring anything out about the serious state of the cladding. The fact that it's fire risk, the fact that it's under investigation, it's under investigation by the fire brigade, all of these things going on, would you want to sort of buy into that particular sort of property? And it is so important. One of the things that Jackie brought up sort of particularly, it's so important that solicitors particularly, who we try and work with very, very closely. We can't all the time, but we do try to find out exactly what is their clients after. Now, because sometimes we won't know, we're never past the informational unless we get a specific request to that. Sometimes solicitors will say to us, and they can't normally do it if they're working with, if we like the volume, the volume sort of suppliers of searches. They can't really ask the question, well, we couldn't just check such and such a thing out, because very often the solicitor won't know anyway, because if the solicitor's tied up, the chances are they're not local people, so they wouldn't know about it. So the only people who are going to know about it are people who are carrying out the search locally. Now, the trouble is, again, the volume producers, they are not local people, by and large. Very rarely are they. But it is, as Jackie actually presents there, that yes, we do need to look at this zoning aspect. We do need to sort of investigate it, but we also need to tidy up the information, because we get scenarios, if we're not careful, and this information can come from land registry, where they speak about the TPO, and there's no tree in the garden, because the TPO is in the wrong place. It's on the opposite side of the road. Doesn't need to be on the property at all. However, that information does need to be actually checked out, and we may need to make sure exactly where the trees are, because sometimes you don't. It depends on the information held by the council, and the councils do get it wrong, and it's basically the person, as I indicated, we will give feedback. If you like, somebody who's doing volume, they don't have the opportunity, they don't necessarily know that it's wrong. They just will feed out the information, rightly or wrongly. If somebody's in Liverpool, they're not going to know what's going on in Southend. There's no way that they can actually do that. And if it just so happens that the solicitor's sort of based sort of somewhere in Manchester, we've got a double whammy. We really don't. Nobody's got any idea whatsoever, apart from that soul that's buying it, and they've gone in, like Jackie says, oh, what a lovely view. However, if they've got somebody local that's gone into there, what it is, of course, and once we've actually sort of found it, that information, that's there on our records for the time. So basically, as Jackie indicated, it will be there. We will know exactly that particular road network that's going to apply. So it's looking that bit further. That obviously, if you don't know the locality, you don't know the area at all, you can't actually do it.
Jackie, does it make a difference that a personal search provider has been, for instance, like you have, building an agency for a number of years, as opposed to a one-size-fits-all? You go to your solicitor and they get you searches. Does it make a difference that you built that relationship up?
Yes, I think it does, because we're working in the land charges department of the council. You used to get searches in that were saying urgent. They were stamped and they'd ask you to treat them urgently. And you used to think, well, hang on, every search you send in says you say it's urgent. Where when you build up and you know your solicitors that you're working for, if they email you a search and say this is urgent and it's one in every 6 months, you know it is urgent, because they very rarely ask, because they send it through at the correct time, not a week before they're supposed to complete the actual conveyancing process. So you build up a rapport, and you know that they want to know about that piece of land at the back, at the side, across the road. They want to know whether there is a tree preservation order in the next doors, or they're adjacent to a conservation area, because trees in a conservation area are automatically protected, which a lot of people don't realise. So you get to know what your client wants, because you deal with them direct. Or their assistants can ring you up or email you and say, oh, can you just do this for us as well, Jackie? Yeah, no problem. I can do that for you, and I won't charge you any extra unless it takes up a lot of my time. And they know that a personal searcher, if they're worth their weight in gold, will do those tiny little extra things for them, and perhaps on the next search will also do it, consistently, to make sure that the information they get is correct.
Wow, it just seems like there's so much more information to be gathered than just the bog standard.
Oh yes, definitely. It's like, as Hamish says, if you're local, you might be in the office working and listening to the radio, and some news bulletin might come on about something, and you think, oh, that's in my area, I need to research this. And like a new railway scheme, which we have at the moment, the big Trans-Pennine route upgrade, because we're not getting HS2 now. So it's those sort of things that you're local, so you're interested. It will be announced that Kirklees Council have now adopted their new local plan and things like that. So because you're local, you might get the local paper, read the local paper online, and it will tell you things that you think, oh, that area that wasn't a conservation area is now going to be designated as a conservation area. Somebody that, as Hamish says, is in Manchester and is doing a search in Southend won't know those little local things. Where, as we say, we're local, but we're national, because, I will send a search to Hamish in his area and he knows those areas. So I rely on Hamish, and I know his people will do me a good job.
It's just amazing that more people don't realise how brilliant it is to be associated with an organisation that has got a number of agents in it. Each of one becomes specialised in their specific geographical region. I think that's an enormous boon, don't you think? It amazes me that it isn't more commonly known, and I think part of the reason why this channel is important is because it makes people understand it's not just a group of people who pay subs to have a name over the door. It's indicative of the ability to be able to pass a search from one. If somebody asked you for a search in Hamish's specialist area, you'd pass it to him because you knew to get the better results from it.
Yeah, that's correct. and that's it. We become knowledgeable in our own area. But then we have the association, as we say, with all over the country. I'm not an expert in Lancashire. There'll be a few companies over there that are experts in Blackburn, Preston, Bolton. So therefore, we ask them to complete it because they know exactly what they are doing.
Wow. Well, look, forgive me for hammering home this point, but thank you very much, both of you. Helped me do it. Hamish, would you take us home?
Right. I mean, we ought to add that we are speaking about value here. We had one of our members coming up asking a query yesterday about certain aspects of searches, and we were able to, with a combined knowledge, particularly the input from Jackie, who has that's a great advantage being both gamekeeper.
She's played for both teams.
Yeah, because having worked on both, you understand the weaknesses and the strengths of each of both of them, and therefore, what Jackie, the expertise that she brings in with so many other people, like me. I've only been working in the industry for 20 years, and that's nothing compared to the length of time others are. But it is that real value in trying to iron out all of the challenges that people have. And if we go in, because we tend to work and operate as though, look, if it was your property, what would you want to know about that particular property? And we hope we cover all avenues. But if we don't, it is so much easier to speak to somebody who knows the council. And we try and take that pressure away from the solicitor. And obviously, if we've got the right information there, the buyer doesn't need to worry about it at all. So
I think that's the critical point. It's about getting the right information to the buyer that is more than just looking through the point at the end of a microscope and just zooming out a little bit and seeing other areas that can really affect things. Once again, thank you so much, Hamish, for helping put it together. And of course, couldn't do it without people like you, Jackie, who help us get some real skin on the bone where you can really tell what's really going on. And that can only be gathered, guys, with localized experience. So I reach out to all of you and say, if you're an IPSA member, please do watch the channel, feedback to Hamish or Jackie or whoever else you're in contact with. If you want to be on the IPSA channel, please just contact Hamish and we can get you on and we can talk about what challenges you've come across or the things that really concern you. But until the next time we speak, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars and try and look after that mental health. Until next time, bye-bye.